I wanted to talk about Isaiah Simmons and what we can expect from defenses as we close out the show. Doug Farrar actually gave this great stat about, you know how nickel is the new base, right? 5 defensive backs. It's very true. Nickel made up 59% of all drop back pass plays in 2019. But the thing that surprised him was that defenses played more dime too, at about 20.9% as opposed to their base of 18%, which means defenses are putting 6 DBs on the field more than they're putting 4 on the field. And that had me thinking about how Isaiah Simmons is the future of football. Yes, the 2019 Buckets Award winner, which is the best linebacker in the country, but at 6'4", 240 pounds, he fits the mold of a linebacker, an edge rusher, or a safety. And with measurables like a 39-inch vertical and a 4.4 40, he is in elite company all over the board. Put in perspective here. Isaiah Simmons at the combine measured 6'4" and 5'6", 238 pounds, 39-inch vertical, 4.4 speed. Von Miller, 6'3", 250, 37-inch vertical, 4.49, 40-yard dash. And about 8 years ago, that's the best player in the NFL today, right? Is Von Miller. Now that man and the future of who he is Isaiah Simmons. It's a dude who was rushing the passer 33% of the time. Played 299 snaps at inside linebacker and 262 at slot corner. Those are 2 very different skill sets, right? 132 snaps at free safety, 116 snaps at outside linebacker, 100 at strong safety. He has been called Brian Urlacher with an extra gear. Urlacher's a Hall of Famer. Urlacher was also a safety who dropped down to play middle linebacker in a modern 4-3. And in cover 3, he destroys everything you have. It's actually one of my favorite stories about a coach who wanted to remain anonymous because he didn't want anybody to hear him saying this about Isaiah Simmons, but it doesn't matter what you run. He wrecks it. He is a destroyer of worlds. That man shows up, you identify him, everybody on your offense identifies him, and he still is able to make a play. When I think about what we're going to see in college football and how I am evaluating defensive backs, I'm also looking at Isaiah Simmons and I'm salivating. I so wanted that guy to play the majority of his snaps at defensive back last year so that, quite honestly, I could vote for him to win the award, because I believe that the Thorpe Award is the most important defensive award in football, period. And in some ways, it's more important than the Heisman Trophy, because if I have a slot corner that's an eraser, then it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I'm taking away their best option every single time. The way that we talk about Chris Harris, right? The way that we talk about Minkah Fitzpatrick. This is what the future of football is. And if you have a guy that can play 6 positions, like Isaiah Simmons or Minkah Fitzpatrick, you're just going to be that much better. And when Simmons is able to stand up there in a 4'9" and get to the quarterback against an offensive tackle who is 6'6", 320 pounds, you understand what you have there, and it is on you to put him in the right positions. As one coach told me, look, if Isaiah Simmons does not fit your defense, it ain't Isaiah Simmons, it's your defense, right? And now we get to watch him play on the same defense as Jordan Phillips, right? Which I think is going to be absolutely outstanding. Chandler Jones, cousin of Bones Jones, and Pat Peterson. And they have an opportunity with Vance Joseph to be really, really dynamic and really, really great. But this is also a place that has wasted Budda Baker, right? Wasted Tony Jefferson. At one point or another, I could put together a Pro Bowl defense out of guys that played for Arizona in the past 4 years, let alone what it's going to look like this year. And then when you translate that back to college and you see what Georgia has done with Richard LeCounte, Eric Stoughton, Monty Rice, guys that weren't necessarily that highly valued who have turned out to be outstanding football players and an outstanding defense. You take a look at what Pete Golding has inherited and what Nick Saban continues to build on with the defense that's going to feature Dylan Moses, Shane Lee, probably Drew Sanders, who might be the best outside linebacker in the country next year because of his sheer athleticism, but also Patrick Surtain Jr. out there at the field and or boundary, right? You also get to take a look at LSU, who is going to try to prove to people that they don't rebuild, that they do reload, with Jacoby Stevens and Kerry Vincent and Jabril Cox and Damon Clark, right? Along with Derek Stingley Jr. And then they got Elias Ricks, who I think is going to be great. So is Dwight McGlothern. But defensive backs are the future. Defensive backs are what football is going to be about. We know that the best way for the offense to move the football is to throw it down the field. We know that the best way for the offense to score is to throw it down the field. What do you need if you're going to play great defense? Great defensive backs.